Hi, Vinchy. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, James. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Likewise, I'm looking forward to this conversation because you made quite the leap from strategy consultant to fashion tech founder. What was the moment that you realized the traditional fashion model was fundamentally broken?
I think it may have started with a very genuine passion from me about this category. I remember when I was little, one of my childhood dreams was become a fashion designer. And obviously, I didn't become one. I went into banking and then consultancy. But I've been a very engaged shopper, of fashion and just following all the cool brands in the industry. And I guess like after 30, I had a moment of like just looking at my wardrobe and thinking of, oh my God, I bought so many clothes and probably I only wore like 20% of it. I'm sure that's sort of like stats that maybe apply to many people beyond me. And I realized, it was a wasteful shopping behavior. And then after the moment, I was looking into, how fashion production was run theoretically. But until the moment that I quit my job as a consultant, I launched my own made to order brands and worked with two designers to launch the collections and really sort of look inside, the industry and understanding how, the whole supply chain was run in a really wasteful way, really inefficient, and creates like high barrier for smaller brands to produce and grow in their own space, at their own pace. So that was, I guess, a light bulb moment for me just to see it from inside, while with that, the passion and the knowledge from as an outsider.
Yeah. It makes sense. That sounds cool. It sounds like you mentioned the sort of 80/20 principle there, which I love that principle. It's one of the big laws of the universe, and you can kind of see that everywhere. With the whole like you say, you wear 20% of your wardrobe, and the other 80% is kind of wasted or just doesn't go to use. So interesting. What's how is it being an outsider of fashion, because you came in with very different career background, and then you just had this passion for fashion, you had that light bulb moment of a problem that you thought you could solve. How has it been being an outsider, um you know an outlier in the industry? How's it been getting in there?
Yeah, I would say it's a blessing and a curse. Obviously, the blessing is I could leverage actually lots of experience I had in finance. By trade, I'm still an accountant. I'm so super smart on the numbers, and also working in at a consultancy firm before and looking at how big corporate is doing their product launch, innovation, all that, and apply those experience to understanding what is that unique insight that we could leverage to build a new solution that could address all the problems we're seeing, in a very effective way that is also commercially viable. I guess the curse will be, obviously it was a bit of a journey for me to make all the mistakes in working with suppliers and, quickly sort of find the right way or learn the right way to work with them. But I think the learning was super worth it because it put me in a position that just feel the pains, like so much pain, working with those suppliers as a smaller brand owners, which sort of leading to the product we are building right now at Garment Buy. To really kind of like feel the pain of the customer we're serving now and really understand what are the values, we can create for them.
Yeah, really cool. What are some of the biggest, mistakes or lessons? Entrepreneurs, founders always like to reframe and think about, the lessons that I've learned, which you do have to do because you can't just, think and dwell in mistakes. But yeah, what are some of the biggest mistakes and lessons that you've learned along your journey so far?
Oh gosh, I would say like there's two things. One is more like more generic, I guess, to maybe many first time founder. I guess the second thing is more specific to fashion supply chain. I'll share the first learnings first. I guess if I were to like rewind everything, right, and just went back to where I started this, I would probably be a lot more savvy on how I allocated my budget and really think about what is the minimal viable solution to like get quick validation rather than overspec everything and then wasted the money into like creating no value, right? So I think, yeah, that was just like a sort of generic learning for me as a first time founder. I guess the second learning was it's more about understanding the dynamic of supply chain, because it's kind of the nature that is very relationship driven, and it's all about who you know in a way that who you are speaking to. So it just means if you don't have that like upfront knowledge of understanding, okay, whether this is a right information or wrong information, you could get misled, right? And I came across somebody like that when I was, getting building out my supply chain, and which is sort of the wrong partner really on building this supply chain exercise for us. But it was a really quick realization that she was the wrong person and she wasn't like really credible in terms of what she said. And we moved away quite fast. So I would say like that would be the challenge for many small brands out there. And for the customer we spoke to, they got scammed by right trade agents, suppliers all the time in this industry.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Pretty painful lessons to learn. But yeah, it's definitely just such a yeah. You've got to make mistakes and learn lessons, and not be afraid to make mistakes
For sure.
when you grow in. So yeah, it's how quickly can you learn those lessons and then not make the mistakes again is a huge part of it.
I guess
How
that's
was
something that investor would like to see in a founder's character as well. Like obviously, like they know you will make mistake, right? It's about like how fast you can learn and readjust and pivot in a way
mm,
to be on a right path again. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. How was that sort of mindset shift, identity shift to become a founder, after having a career and that kind of, change and in what you do? Like how was that for you?
Um, it was actually like a very personal experience to me, because in some way, when I started my career in big corporate, working for someone else, I also have this like secret identity in me that I want to be my own boss. And that was kind of a bit of like universe calling when I had a bit of like burnout at the previous full-time job. And it came to a realization that, it might be the case I will never find a perfect employer, and maybe it's just not the right way for me. So why not I just take the risk and try to start my own business and see if this is the right, ways of, like the right way I would go forward to build a career as a founder, entrepreneur. And I made a decision. And I think that was the best decision I've ever made in my life. I never regretted a second, even though it's stressful.
Do you ever have moments where you think, man, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Or is it just, you just embrace the challenge and love the journey, whether it's up and down and like it is a roller coaster of emotions and turmoil?
I'm sure everybody have like moments here and there, be like, what the heck am I doing, in this world? And that occurred to me as well. But I think most of the time I was able to remain quite calm with like a strong conviction in what I'm doing, and just be able to really focusing on the problems and the challenge and really quickly find a way to solve it and address it. Because I think my personality is more like what's the point of you dwelling in emotions, right? Like if you can't solve the thing, you might as well just like get on it and try to find a way if you can overcome it kind of mindset.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really cool. Tell me a little bit about the unique value proposition of Garment Buy.
Yeah. Maybe let me just step back and give you a really quick, like a couple sentence about what we do at Garment Buy. So
For sure.
Garment Buy is an AI native supply chain platform that enables agile fashion production for SME. Which means, we are leveraging tech and supply network that we are building to overcome the high minimum quantity order, long lead time, and also really complex operational challenge that for business to manage the whole supply chain exercises. So I guess the unique proposition of us is maybe three things I can share. The first thing is we promote radical transparency, right, through digitalization, is really about the entire supply chain. We want to digitalize it and promote the radical transparency, who you're working with, where's the progress is, like, what is the risk, sort of you will see it, through our platform. I guess secondly is really we want to democratizing the barrier to start and scale production for smaller brands. So typically you may hear like designers coming into the market and just like face this challenge is really expensive to launch a collection. And that sort of block out lots of emerging creativity for this industry. So we want to democratizing the barrier through this smart batching function we're building. So essentially, it's like break the business silo and be able to aggregate order to negotiate with suppliers as a platform operator. And last but not least, we are end to end, which means we also cover the last mile of delivery, which actually is a really key part of the supply chain journey, and that also dictate lots of supply chain decisions that business need to make because it could take up to 30% of the cost, really. So producing offshore and onshore, there's a pros and cons, and most of the solution out there don't give you the transparency or the access to understand that cost element of it. So I'll say probably those three.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Nice. What stage are you in right now? I believe we've had previous conversation, and we're in a pretty exciting phase of the launch. So yeah, just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we launched our platform MVP. We are fast iterating, the product, launching new features, and working with pilot customer who are paying also for the value they are getting from the platform. When we launched, we actually had 3 paying customer, and we just onboarded another 6, which makes it really close to 10. So we're gonna make it stretch quite quickly, and we have a pipeline of 40, and it's growing daily. That we can onboard to our platform and offer the pilot services and features to them. So it's pretty exciting in terms of, I guess, growth and seeing like the customers getting value and listening to them talk about their production challenge, which exactly resonates with everything we learn and the reason we're building this. So that's like very exciting. We're also at the stage of raising our first round. So it's also pretty exciting to talk to investors about what we are building, getting all the no's and some validations into the project we're all passionate about. So that was pretty exciting as well. So hopefully we'll be able to close around by the end of October latest and be back on, building more the product and the customer that we are growing with us now.
Yeah, amazing. That's you're in a very exciting phase. Then it's you're getting that customer feedback and validation, and yeah, you're out there trying to raise around. What's the biggest challenge right now?
I would say the biggest challenge right now is kind of obviously like for me personally as the lead founder on fundraising, it's really hard to balancing that bandwidth, right? Because fundraising, lots of people telling me is a full-time job, but then because all of us are so close to the product, like we do have lots of like real business challenge like every day that we need to also address as a priority. So I found that quite challenge from like personal angle, but also I guess as a business, it's a learning journey for us to understand how we could balance the speed and the taste about building a great product that our customer will love. And I really like this article was written by Sarah Guo. I recommend everybody who listened to it to go and read it. She's the founder. I think she's a co-founder of Conviction VC, and we actually just applied to their accelerator in bad Conviction. But this whole article is all about, think about from a customer point of view, not just addressing the pain point, but also think about the delightful point that could really surprise them. It's kind of those like features that they don't even know they need, but then when they see it, they will like absolutely like be amazed about it. So I think with that also there's lots of like attention to details, right? And naturally that will slow you down in terms of like what you build. So I guess it's a really fine balance to strike, whether obviously we want speed because we need to like build it out and really scale it like and like grow our market penetration versus we really also want to build a tasteful product because nowadays with AI, you can build build out any MVP super fast. Like, what's your edge then? Right. So
Mm,
I guess that's like constant learning process for us as a business.
mm. Yeah, very cool. So you mentioned, that like the challenge of your time, like managing your time. What do you prioritize and that sort of thing? What does your sort of day to day look like, week to week? Does it change a lot? Is it quite structured? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. No matter how much I wish it to be structured, it will end up not to be structured. Is we have a team of 4 co-founders and we spread it across time zone, and we or like have our priority that we look after in our scope of responsibility. But it also says we jump on others' plates to support each other a lot, because it's still a very small team, and we want to keep that communication quite tight, also particularly because it's remote, right? So even though I have a plan for the day and we know, okay, I'm going to reach out to 20 investors today, it will get like shifted, because I need to prioritize the team, I need to prioritize like customer. So I would say like my day to day is usually a full surprise of everything. And it's sometimes with good news, sometimes with bad news, but it's just very dynamic. But hopefully at some point I'll be able to like give back some structure after closing the round. That was my wish.
Yeah, cool. So you've got to kind of just be very nimble, very
Yeah.
adaptable, kind of, reactive, probably more than you kind of hope to be, but it's just, the gift and the curse of being a startup founder is, that flexibility, adaptability to be able to pivot fast, change things fast, iterate really quickly, but then also put out fires, or do everything that you would rather not do, but for sure.
Firefightings are a key skill of being a founder, I say.
How did you so you've got your like pilot clients, you paying clients, that sort of thing, like what how did you acquire those? Is it like tapping into your network, or what are your kind of thoughts there?
Yeah, so I think that this also might be a very typical experience of maybe across like early stage founder. Like most of the clients we acquire at this point is all through like founders led sales, which is means our own network and the community we pre-engage or currently like engaging with, and community we are identifying that will be good to be part of. So it's really about finding where these customers are and finding a way to one up that lead really quickly, then often is through relationship building. And we recently find that LinkedIn is actually quite a good, I guess, like channel, because obviously it's not like hard selling, right? You just kind of like sharing your point of view that you care for. Like, for us, it will be like fashion production, supply chain, fashion tech, etc. So you tend to get quite good like algorithm push if it's like a really good content to the right audiences, and lots of a few conversation of the customer we just onboarded to our platform actually started from LinkedIn. So
Mm,
I think that will be one of the channel we definitely want to like double down. And I guess this community also is very a powerful sort of tool as well. And to the point that I think the one of the plan, I guess, like after we close the fundraising, is actually also build a community that we can provide value to. So, and I think that will be a very much like a supported ecosystem we want to build with all stakeholders in the fashion industry, whether it's designer, product developer, production manager, fabric technicians, and all these kind of like roles that we just want to gather together and enable them to like help each other for the better purpose. Yeah.
yeah, cool. What are your kind of thoughts on building a community? What would you use, like a platform or like a Slack channel, or what?
At the moment, I found it the easier way to manage is still WhatsApp, but I do feel like because I'm also part of like lots of WhatsApp community, right? It could become quite overwhelming when it just like live on a live chat, but you do have the closest, I guess, like touch point to the audience you want to get in touch with.
Mm,
I'm yet to find a really great solution to how brands and business run community. I wonder if there's any startup out there, doing this.
mm.
If there is, and let me know. I would love to know your thoughts. But yeah, WhatsApp is currently like what we want to deploy, I guess, to
Yeah,
begin with.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, makes sense. And then yeah, so you say, LinkedIn pretty good success with that so far, and you mentioned, so you're putting out like targeted content that speaks to your target audience. Is that kind of the plan, the strategy, and then that gets pushed, people resonate with it, you get some engagement, and then do you like just nurture conversations from that point? Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, I think you are exactly spot on it. I think LinkedIn is a relationship building tool through content sharing and topic sharing.
Mm,
Um, it will take a bit, maybe like time to get to the point that, okay, this relationship is ready to convert, but it's pretty organic because you sort of like use the content to find a common ground between you and the person that you want to network with, right? And
mm,
you sort of be able to then grow the engagement through like a serious content that you're posting. I think like with me now on fundraising, I have less time to do it, but the goal is I'll definitely want to like have LinkedIn as a priority content platform to generate, more content with. And the other thing we want to do is actually have like a weekly stand up just open to everyone who's in the fashion industry to come in and ask us question and help on fashion production. And we will love just like give free, advice. And maybe at some point we could invite like experts in different fields as well to be on a chat and be able to like open that access of knowledge to everyone too.
yeah, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And yeah, back the LinkedIn, the way that I kind of look at it is it's becoming part of the conversation, isn't it? You're putting content out, and that's becoming part of the conversation as a kind of a thought leader. I don't really like that word, but it's, yeah, very much like that. Getting engagement and just nurturing conversations in a natural, organic way that then becomes, direct messages, and then calls, and yeah, just very
Yeah.
organic. Not a lot of the, just the spam like direct outreach that happens so much, just because
Yeah, I
automation
actually
tools are
really
so
hate the
readily
outreach,
available.
even though I have to do it, like trial
Yeah.
it. We didn't see that much of a success rate actually from cold outreach. It's
Mm,
more like we have to find a way to one up leads before we can get um that sort of conversion piece. And I think LinkedIn, like you said, is really good because it's quite targeted in a way how you draft your content, but also
mm,
the algorithm like help you to get that reach, you right, to
mm.
the audiences that you don't have in your network. So it's pretty good.
Mm. Yeah, cool. It sounds like you're doing it the right way to me. So really cool. What's your what's the big picture vision you've got?
I think big picture, for me as a person, I love this idea of betterment. And I'm trying to like see the betterment in everything I do. So for Garment Buy, I think if you're talking specifically about the company I'm building, I think it's about finding a better way to run supply chain, right, for the next generation of creativity. And if the way we're building it is not to, say we can address all challenges in supply chain, but find a way to make it more efficient, more agile, so that I guess it could save the environment, from that 96 million tons textile waste every year. And I think we wanted to build it to empower the next gen creativity, like I said, to launch their collection, to launch a design into the market. And I guess the last thing is to give back the control to fashion business so that they know they can like make the decision on how much they want to produce, when they want to produce it, and unlock the cash, to be able to sustain their own growth rather than get forced to overproduce in a way that wastes the cash and become like desktop to the environment.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. You taking on a big vision, want to have a big impact in something that's yeah, like
Definitely.
you say, betterment. So yeah, really cool. What's what's the goal, in terms of growth over the next, say, 12 months or so?
Yeah, I think for the next 12 months, we really want to see if we get to, 500K to a million ARR. I guess breaking it down, that will be probably growing our customer base to 100 brands and business plus. And with that, we want to hit the milestone of qualifying to open our seed round next year as well. So yeah, I think it's a lot about, sort of the growth, the revenue figures, and hitting the criteria to be at the next stage of fundraising to speed up, really.
Mm. Yeah, nice. Yeah, ambitious, like aggressive growth targets. I love it. It's yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. What are going to be some of the big obstacles that you're going to have to overcome that, to hit those sort of targets?
Yeah, I would say maybe it's less of obstacle, but is definitely some challenges that we are very mindful of addressing. I guess one is how fast we can close around, get a capital in, and really speed up and scale up the marketing channel that we've tested and knew is going to work and convert. And the second thing is really, finding that balance between speed and taste, like I said, to build out a product that our customer will love. And the third thing is really growing that best practice, how we work with agile suppliers from the two major markets, which is China and Eastern European at the moment, and be able to pilot that into other key supply markets, like the suppliers we speaking to in Ireland, India, the rest of part of the Eurasia land. So we really want to see that we can scale that, because that becomes a major asset to our customer if they can diversify their supply chain geographically. So I would say probably those three things are the challenges we're mindful with.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Like, yeah, some proper obstacles to overcome, but it's just a case of figuring out the solutions to those challenges, and yeah, for sure. What's what excites you most right now? Like, with everything that you're doing, what's the most exciting thing to you?
Um, I think being founder is just like a very exciting thing to me as a in general. And I guess maybe at this point of the time, really be able to speak to, investors is very exciting. It could get really daunting as well when you're like, oh no, we're not interested, or these and that. But I think overall it's a very exciting experience for me because it get me the outsider perspective, because I'm in this bubble building this project that we have strong conviction on. And it's really nice to hear either is like outsider rejection that just like help us to understand, okay, what we are falling behind, what others are doing there, how they are talking to investors and, all that. And or is getting like, legit validations to into what we are building. And that obviously become a fuel to help us to grow faster. So I think this like exposure to investor, especially this is sort of my first round, is pretty exciting. And I think we'll be more excited to actually go back to building. And I'm really eager to meet like more fashion brand owners, business owner, and just like really help them to address the problem they're facing in fashion production. And especially at the moment, lots of our customers are like amazing women. They're all like female founder and trying to find their edge in the fashion industry and try to grow from there. So I just really like all in to support like female like founders there. So yeah, that's like pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, that sounds like you definitely have a helpful mindset to have when it comes to speaking to investors to try and raise capital, and it's you're looking at you're getting the feedback, even if it's a rejection, you're getting the feedback to be constructive and improve and raise your game, like raise your standards to really raise that bar to be better for betterment ultimately. So
Yes.
yeah, cool. Yeah, very cool. What are your kind of overarching thoughts on AI, like right now, and where it's heading and how it impacts what you're doing?
I love that topic just because I think NIT just published a paper, like a research paper about 90% of enterprise investment into AI pilot project has achieved net zero gain. And obviously there are like people talking about, oh, this AI bubble and that. But I still think, the incremental betterment that, AI has broken through for what we can do as individual, what business can do as a whole is incredible. I think it is like an era defining sort of breakthrough in innovation. How far we can go and what is the what are the obstacle, when it comes to like reality to scale it, to push it to the next level. I'm not an expert to tell you, But I remain quite positive in terms of how we could leverage AI, and that's one of the principle when we build Garment Buy is we are building it to be an AI native product because we've already identified lots of decision making in the supply chain journey could be empowered by AI. So the goal for us is to build it to be a AI co-pilot to production manager to a bigger team in the brand or replacing their role for a smaller brand. So I'm very optimistic, but having said that, I am very wary in terms of where the whole direction is going, right? Like thinking about, for example, Cursor, they solely relying on, cloud as an LLM to build out this I guess developer co-pilot tool. And, it's sort of like quite risky when you're like reliant when you are so reliant on LM development as a business. So I'm just curious as entrepreneurs to see like how that trend go really. So in terms of like our tech planning, we are very cautious about where we use AI, where not. So that it becomes like very sustainable when we build it out, not just sort of solely relying on the success, the rise and the fall of LM per se. What's
Mm.
your opinion?
No, that's cool. That's yeah, super interesting. Like I kind of yeah, I agree with a lot of what you just said there. It's just exciting times, there's so much opportunity. For me, it's kind of, I'm a visionary entrepreneur. It's difficult to navigate, not get too excited with like shiny object syndrome, just because of the possibilities that AI opens up for businesses, for transformation, for growth. So that's a part of it. And yeah, I'm optimistic like you are. Yeah, I probably don't pay enough attention to like because I'll speak from time to time with somebody in cybersecurity, and they'll talk about the security threats and that kind of thing, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, I probably don't pay enough attention to that side of things, but yeah, I love kind of where we're going, where we've come so far in terms of leveraging AI for all things growth for me. So do you do any like coding or development or anything like that?
Not myself, which I
Okay.
wish I could. But basically, we build our tech in house by our technical co-founder who's based in Seattle.
Okay.
Um, we obviously have lots of like product conversations every day, thinking about more the UI UX level and the feature level, what are important, how we build it, but the execution is done by Han, our CTO based in Seattle. Yeah, I wish I could, but I guess I just need to focus on at what I'm good at to help the business out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's the same with me, I've got slightly technical, like I understand I've always worked with developers and software developers and stuff, but I don't, I've never been a programmer or a coder, but yeah, just even being in Cursor now, and Claude Code, you can build stuff out, which I just find is insane. Like you build just
Yeah.
at least the prototype, the MVPs. I'm not saying, you
Have
can
you
create
have you
like,
tried it? This trend like vibe coding has been like
yeah,
massive. Have you
yeah, yeah,
tried
yeah.
any of those tools?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, vibe coding. It's almost I'm like my background is marketing, but I've become this like like vibe marketing, vibe coding kind of merge.
Yeah.
Just because you can build these tools out which enable growth, give you insights on data. My co-founder is very much like a hands-on builder of things. So I'll strategize and talk with him a lot, and he'll go away and just come back with these tools that he built, and I'm like, this is crazy. It's crazy what you can do right now. So that's kind of what, yeah, when I'm talking about, you can get a bit too carried
Yeah.
away with like the possibilities because there's so much possibility and
Tends
opportunity.
to exactly.
Um, but yeah, it's exciting
I
for sure.
I think this is probably come back to the taste challenge that I think at this point of time, this, AI Copilot tools and probably get you really fast to like 50%, right? Like off the
Mm,
completion of the product. But then the rest of 50% is still a lot requires lots of like experience, like human intelligence and rounds of like iteration to like make it like to push it to be like perfect. But it is very exciting. I think even though I work in supply chain, I do
mm,
see like lots of pain points that should be automated in
Mm,
marketing operation. So
mm.
yeah, very
Yeah,
excited
yeah,
what you're doing there as well.
yeah, absolutely. What's if you could go back to, when you first became a founder, thinking about, what you know now, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Um, I think I might just circle back to the generic learning in terms of really focus down on the problems that you feel passionate about, and think about a solution that is the minimal viable that you can test to get quick validation. Don't overspec thing, even it's the dumbest way of like just using forms, or run it in the most manual way, but I think that will be like the best way to get like quick validation. So then with that, I'd advise myself to allocate budget accordingly, really look at what is the biggest value add and spend most on that, and just cutting out like the fluff that just not needed, I guess, in a way to manage the budget smarter. I think if I had a 100K right now, like being a second round founder, I could extract a lot more value
Mm,
with 100K, to get a lot more things done. So I
mm,
do appreciate, when investors are, oh, you're a second founder, they sort of ring the bells in them. So I guess it's also like a career, being an entrepreneur. You get better and better while you just keep building and keep
mm.
testing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, there's many founders that resonate with over complicating things. The path of going back, and I would take a much better path of least resistance rather than just getting too carried away in stuff that's not relevant. Yeah, that minimum viable, like you said, it's super critical. So yeah, I really appreciate this conversation, Vinchy. It was
Likewise.
super interesting to hear your insights, and it sounds like you're in a really good spot right now. You're in a very exciting time. Um, where can people find out more about you?
Well, I guess the easiest way, just find my name on LinkedIn.
Cool.
Obviously, Garment Buy is the business, and our website is garmentbuy.com. But feel free, just find me on LinkedIn, DM me. I'm happy to grab a coffee, chat about more, and just jump on a virtual call or anything.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I'll put the links in the description as well. And yeah, Vinchy, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Shane, for making the time. Cheers.
Yes, thank you.